He's my business partner, and as you'll see, he's a bit like the Stig. He doesn't appear. Hey team, how are you all doing? Thought I'd do a video today, a shop chronicle. Only a very short one. It's something that has been mentioned to me as we've started to launch the social posts, and the reach and interaction has been amazing. So thank you for anyone that has liked it or shared it or commented, applied for a job has been the case, or just generally taken an interest. I suppose it reaffirms why we're doing it, and that actually we can all be a bit passionate about food. It's one of the very few things we buy every day, we do every day. So I thought I'd do a short video because actually it was really clear last week before the shop shut, I suppose, the impact that Julie and Colin, the previous owners of the shop, had had. Because when we were there measuring up and doing a few bits before we hand over, just how many people had loved them and appreciated them, and there was endless rafts of people coming in and out and giving them gifts, which is amazing. So as we were doing videos, it seemed really relevant to, I suppose, talk about who we are, why we bought the shop, why that shop, and the principles behind it. So who am I? I'm actually a local lad, very local. I grew up on Prospect Lane itself, where the shop is. I used to walk past that every day to school on the way to Alderbrook. You can probably tell with the accent that I've got, I'm not a Solihull native, originally from Hall Green. And yeah, walk past the shop every day, and me and my old man used to say, if ever one of those became available, you've got to buy one. You could do something great in a location like this. And I've been looking to invest in a couple of different businesses for a while, because as you've gathered, I do a few bits, and I'm a passionate foodie, and I genuinely have a long-held passion that I suppose I've now been able to do something with, about trying to do the right thing and doing something for the environment. And I don't want to come across as a do-gooder, but I really believe that you can make a profit and do some good, whether it's for local businesses or for the environment, and offer a selection of food that I was looking for.
I like the base. I like the buttery biscuit base. I like the base biscuit base. I like the buttery biscuit base. Crunchy base, nutty base, buttery biscuit base.
But actually what I've been looking for, I have dietary problems, and I eat, I suppose, a different diet, not just a vegetarian. And I was looking for products that excite me. I think we all want to eat stuff that tastes good. And I just got a bit fed up with the generic supermarkets. Obviously that's where a lot of your kind of staple items come from. And I love a farm shop, but nothing really seemed to bridge the gap, in that you could have a supermarket, and there's obviously a varying degree of supermarket and the quality of the produce that they offer you. Or you got to get in the car and drive a pretty long way to a good farm shop. There's obviously a number of farm shops, but a good one. So I'd always thought there's a market for putting it on people's doorsteps, kind of locally reared produce that supports local businesses, because I think in this day and age it's something we should all do wherever possible. We're going to spend this money, so if we can spend this money in a way that's cognizant of supporting local and smaller businesses, it's something I've always thought should be done. And I suppose as I've got older, I've become more conscious of the future for my kids, and I'm not claiming that opening one shop is going to change the world, but little behaviours do help. The concept came about was I'd been looking at doing some investments, as I said, with the chippy and stuff, and the guy who I'm a business partner with, who is like the Stig, who just disappears in the sense that he doesn't want to be seen. I'll let you draw your own conclusions on that.
And so the advice remains the same. Stay at home.
we've worked together for years. I back in the day was his boss in some of the I've been his boss in some of the jobs we've had together, but over time we grew closer regardless of who existed where in the management structure. He always became one of the guys I was closest to. And when I was buying that chip shop, as we were talking about, the second one I was actually buying with him when we pulled out. And I'd been playing around with this concept for a while. I'd had the idea of doing something that was sustainable, trying to do my version of good. And I've always been this passionate foodie. I just thought you couldn't necessarily get the produce that I was looking for, or I certainly wasn't getting the shopping experience that I wanted. And the property that we've now bought, I'd seen many months back when we were looking at the chippy, and we did actually go and look at it, but the timing wasn't right. And we basically said, look, if it isn't bought by the other people that were buying it at the time, like, let us know. And I went back and actually viewed it, and we started having the conversations anyway. For me, it was much more about the concept of trying to be sustainable, try and do the right thing for the environment and support local business and get great local fresh produce onto people's doorsteps. And my business partner kind of came on board again and was like, well up for this. Chippy didn't work out, but maybe this one will. And the evolution of the whole idea, then what started out as one thing, we've remained true to the principles, but together, even things like the name, how it looks, the feel, we then did it together because we shared the same principles. We kind of had the same views on life, and we worked it out. He still remains like a nameless person on this video, but he's a massive part of it. And whilst I probably had the initial principles, as we've gone through it together, it's become a bigger and bigger and bigger passion point for the both of us. And I think we complement each other in that we're passionate about what we're trying to do. You got a veggie in me, an absolutely die-hard meat eater in him, and we're trying to find the best of the produce that kind of ticks our interests, but that remains true to the principles of the business. And as I said, because we've been looking to do something for a while, individually and together principally, because we've worked together so much, it always felt quite natural to whatever one did, the other one kind of did. Because in our last job together, I suppose we had a bit of a hiatus, for want of a better phrase, where working together but quite separately, whereas before we'd always been kind of a bit back to back, and he'd always been my kind of guy, so to speak, confidant. And it just felt right. It felt for a concept that we're talking about in a location I understand, somewhere where I'd grown up, and something that I could really wrap my head around in terms of the customer base. And hopefully we'll prove right. Hopefully we are picking the right location. Hopefully the produce is everything we hope it will be, and it's perceived in the way we hoped it will be. But it felt right, and that's how the whole kind of concept came about. And then things like the videos, because I'd been asked to do the videos for some of my public speaking and stuff I do outside of this, we then started talking, and he and I thought, what if we rolled this into what does it look like to open your own business, and even more so during the coronavirus. And we just thought we'd document it, because we're trying to put our principles first and trying to really do what we say on the tin. It's a good way to kind of hold ourselves to account, is to be transparent. You know who we are, what we're about, and our background, despite the fact that he doesn't exist on these videos. You've got one of us that you know what they look like and you can hold to account, but as the shop's open, you'll all get to meet both of us. And so that was where the whole thing started from. It started life as a chippy. As I say, this location wasn't going to be a chippy, but that's where the evolution of the things we were looking at investing in was always food and beverage. And even with the fish and chip shop, it was about the provenance of it and the quality of it. And then this came up, and it just felt like the right time. Good time in both of our lives, and we thought, why not? It was a combination of knowing the area, living locally, having been past it on the way to school, bought my sweets and stuff from there, and me looking for an investment, and it was just timely. And because I'd had this idea for a shop for a while, obviously location's key, and when that became available, it felt like the first place to put the kind of first shop, because it's an area I understand, and it's an area I'm passionate about, with products I'm passionate about, and principles that I'm passionate about. So I just thought I'd just do a little video about me, my nameless Stig business partner. And a little bit of the why and who we are, and as we get to know you all as you come down, because as I said, totally blown away by the feedback and the support, not just of our friends and family, but of people we don't know. And hopefully you can continue to share the word, because we're as passionate about being there for 27 years as I'm sure Colin and Julie were when they first opened. Because as I say, it might only be a small difference, but we really do want to make a difference and do things for the right reason, and really get to know people, and aim to be open some point in mid-June. So see you there, guys. Thanks a lot, as always. Stay safe. Bye.